Morning. Well, that didn't all go to plan. Heading to Stewart, BC from Terrace this morning. Was hoping to go to bed early. Could not sleep last night. Tossed and turned till around 4 and then slept till around 7, so not feeling super chipper, but onward and upward. Don't normally drink coffee, so trying some cacao from Guatemala. Hopefully get a little caffeine boost. Clothing's almost all packed, electronics are charged, passport as I am crossing into Alaska, which I'm excited about. Gonna see the Salmon Glacier, go to the Bear Glacier platform, and let's go for a ride. Driving along the Stewart-Cassia Highway towards Stewart, I noticed for the first time this year that the leaves were beginning to turn. Despite the seasonal shift, the day was warm and sunny, and these two were soaking it all in, completely content. As I neared Lake Meziadin, the peaceful shimmer of the water made it feel like the perfect spot to pull over and take a break. Lake Meziadin Provincial Park is a quiet little campground with charming campsites that look out on the calm blue lake. After parking in the day use area, I found the perfect spot on the dock to have a nap while soaking up some sunshine. Feeling more refreshed now, it was time to get out on the water. I have only had my stand-up paddleboard for a short time, and so far actually standing up on it has been a challenge. As I got out onto the calm water, I knew this was the day to learn how to properly balance standing up. After a few minutes, I realized it's all in the hips. As I got further out in the water, I became aware of what real silence is. Other than the odd call from a loon, there wasn't a single sound of an engine or a person, and it was pure bliss. When I came back to the dock, some new friends were waiting. After a bit of socializing, it was time to continue on towards Stewart and make my way to the next stop, the Bear Glacier. Stopping at the Bear Glacier was a no-brainer, as it is directly en route about 20 minutes before Stewart. I flew Mavi out across Stone Lake. The locals in Stewart later told me, and even showed me photos of the time when the glacier came all the way to the pass. The Ice Age was a long time ago though. Since the 40s, the glacier has noticeably receded further up the mountain. With the amount of glacial water running down the mountain on this hot sunny day, I wasn't surprised. As I flew Mavi further and higher, I was able to see some of the ice formations, and the blue color in the ice as the sun lit it up was absolutely stunning. I was very surprised to notice that Mavi was 3 kilometers away and over 300 meters in elevation from where he took off from. Sometimes the human eye amazes me. When I brought Mavi back safely, I felt excited as I knew Stewart was close, and after a quick stop at my Airbnb, I would soon be in Alaska. As I drove into Stewart, BC, I noticed this town still maintained its historical charm. I quickly settled into my Airbnb at the Mountain Lodge, and then I was off to cross the border into Hyder, Alaska. From Stewart, it only takes a few minutes to get to the Alaskan border. There are no custom stops as you cross into the US, just a banner over the road welcoming you to Hyder, the friendliest ghost town in Alaska. Past a few shops that look like they were from a movie set in the Wild Wild West. I started up the gravel service road towards the glacier. Assuming the sun would be a factor, I was trying to get there quickly. Catching up to other cars who I imagined were going to the glacier as well meant not being able to see due to dust clouds. The mountains to the west as I drove were magnificent though. As I suspected, the sun proved to be an issue upon arrival. The view itself was beautiful. With the glare shining directly into my eyes, I chose to wait and see how it might appear once the sun slipped below the jagged peaks in the distance. Although you cross the border into Alaska, the service road leading to the glacier actually loops back onto Canadian soil. This glacier ranks as the 5th largest in Canada and is the largest one accessible by road. Each year in mid-July, it transforms into a natural hazard when the lower ice dam gives way, sending water surging beneath the glacier and causing the Salmon River to rise 4 to 5 feet. These powerful flows are also what carve the dark streaks across the ice, resembling tire tracks etched into the glacier's surface. In the end, my patience was richly rewarded. I endured the relentless swarms of bugs and the searing sunlight that seemed to burn into my eyes. But once the sun slipped beneath the horizon, the scene unfolded into something truly breathtaking. What I witnessed that night left me in absolute awe, a sight that felt like a once-in-a-lifetime gift. I lingered for another half hour, letting the moment sink deep into my memory before finally making my way back into Stewart, hoping to arrive in time for a late bite to eat. The next morning I made my way to Tree's Cafe for breakfast. A cozy local favorite known for its fresh baked pastries and warm, easy conversations. It's the kind of place where locals are eager to share stories and bits of Stewart's history, making you feel less like a visitor and more like a welcome guest. With my hunger satisfied, I headed back over the border into Hyder, this time just a few minutes into Alaska to check out the Fish Creek Wildlife Observation Site, hoping to be lucky enough to spot some bears. Upon arrival, you'll need to show your pass to the ranger. Since there's no cell service in the area, be sure to purchase your pass online before crossing into Hyder. Everyone I'd spoken with about the observation site warned me they hadn't been lucky enough to see any bears, so I went in prepared for a long wait. I told myself I'd stay up to 4 hours if that's what it took. Luckily, I didn't have to test my patience for that long. After just 20 minutes, I spotted 2 bears upriver, their shapes moving between the trees. At first, I could only spot them through binoculars, and I already felt blessed just to witness the moment. As the mother grizzly and her cub slowly made their way downriver, it almost felt dreamlike. About a dozen of us stood together in silence, watching in awe as they fished and hunted along the creek for over an hour. The large cub was definitely more frisky than its mother, playfully chasing down the salmon while Mama Bear stalked them with strategy and precision. The cycle of life between the salmon and the bears is such a vital part of this river's ecosystem. Salmon are born in fresh water and migrate out to the ocean, only to return here to spawn. After spawning, most of them die, a phenomenon called simultaneity, where every ounce of energy goes into a single reproductive effort. I think I can relate to that. This natural process draws the bears, who feast on the salmon, often targeting their most nutrient-rich organs. I noticed that sometimes a bear would take one massive bite, leave the rest behind, and then move on to catch another. It's an endless buffet, but it's also survival. This feast is what helps the bears pack on enough weight to make it through the long winter hibernation. After watching the mother and cub for over an hour, it was tough to finally move on, but I felt more than fulfilled by the experience, and with a few more places in Hyder still on my list, it was time to head back towards Stewart. If you ever make it to Hyder, I highly recommend stopping by Carolina's Boundary for souvenirs, and don't leave without grabbing some of their fudge. I went with the peanut butter chocolate, and it was absolutely delicious. My only regret? Eating the entire batch on the drive. The last stop on my itinerary was the estuary, and I couldn't have asked for better timing. The sun finally broke through, casting a warm glow over the peaceful boardwalk. It was the perfect setting to unwind, reflect on the past 2 days, and take in the stunning scenery surrounding me. I managed to stand confidently on my paddleboard, gliding across the glass-like waters of Lake Meziadin. That moment alone felt like a small victory, but the real magic came with the sunset over the Salmon Glacier, far more breathtaking than I ever imagined. And to top it off, I was lucky enough to witness a mother bear and her cub playing in the water, a memory I'll carry with me for a long time. This weekend road trip from Terrace turned out to be everything I needed and more. If you ever get the chance to explore this region, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Now it's time for me to keep touring. The world is vast. Make sure you get out there and experience as much of it as you can while you're here.